Realwrite Realtime, Unit 1, Drill 2, Lesson 3 and 4, narrated by Tara. A, long A. A-E-U. Babe. Initial B, long A, final B. Deaf. Initial D, short E, final F. Hag. Initial H, short A, final G. Bag. Initial B, short A, final G. Deed. Initial D, long E, final D. Gag. Initial G, short A, final G. Add. Short A, final D. Beg. Initial B, short E, final G. Fad. Initial F, short A, final D. Ah. Short A, final H. Bed. Initial B, short E, final D. Egg. Short E, final G. Head. Initial H, short E, final D. Bad. Initial B, short A, final D. Dad. Initial D, short A, final D. Feed. Initial F, long E, final D. Aid. Long A, final D. Bead. Initial B, long E, final D. Fed. Initial F, short E, final D. Ha. Initial H, short A, final H. Abe. Long A, final B. Ed. Short E, final D. Deb. Initial D, short E, final B. One. 9. About. Initial B. B. Final B. Did. Initial D. If. Initial F. Of. Final F. Had. Initial H. He. Initial H, A-E. She. Initial S, H, A-E. Had A. Initial H, long A. If A. Initial F, long A. Did A. Initial D, long A. About A. Initial B, long A. He did. H-A-E, final D. She did. S-H-A-E, final D. He had. H-A-E, final H. Did he? Initial D, initial H, E. Had he? H-E. If he? Initial F, E. A bad bag. A dead egg. He had a bead. If a hag had a dad. Ed had a bad egg. Ah-ha. Be bad. He did a deed. A bad gag. About a bed. Abe had a bag of feed. Be a bad hag. If Deb did beg. He had a fad about Deb. Bead of feed. A babe fed.